Hey, good morning, guys. It's about 7:26 on this Sunday morning, the 10th of January, 2021. And I do apologize if I stumble on my words a little bit. It is still early, just like I mentioned. But I wanted to come on here and talk about something that I wanted to talk about several days ago after, it was officially confirmed and certified. And that is the fact that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are going to officially now be the next president and vice president of the United States. But the reason I wanted to talk about this when it happened was because there's one question that's being asked or has been asked, not just this past week, but for the past several months since, Joe Biden and Kamala won the election, controversial or not. And that is, what are you afraid of? What are you worried about? And the reason this question's being asked a lot, at least these two questions are being asked a lot, is due to the fact that there's a lot of people that, although they may be happy Joe Biden won, you know, some people are not happy about whether or not, his running mate might be up to something more so than just trying to help him run the country. That of course being the VP, the soon to be VP Kamala Harris. While others that didn't support Biden or Harris feel that something is up, like something just doesn't make sense. And in my personal opinion, when I hear people ask these questions of what are you afraid of, what are you worried about, and then along with it, I hear the answers of, hey, you know, we've been through Democratic presidents and vice presidents in the past. We've been through democratically controlled senates and houses in the past. What are you worried about? What are you afraid of? And You know, when I hear all this, I can only think about one answer, one true answer, probably above all of them, in my opinion, and that has to deal with what's going on right now, and that's the 25th Amendment. You see, in case you guys don't know, back in October, going into Election Day, the president himself was diagnosed, and tested positive for the virus. Thus, he had to spend about a week and a half at a medical facility in Washington, D.C., being quarantined, being given treatments, given tests daily before he was able to get back onto the campaign trail to try to, throw the election back in his favor or in his direction, get the momentum back in his favor. Now, during this time, Nancy Pelosi had introduced the 25th Amendment to the House, to the Congress, because of the fact that she felt, due to the fact that, Donald Trump had contracted the virus, that he was unfit to lead the country. And she wanted this 25th Amendment implemented while he was at a medical facility getting treatment and being quarantined. And a lot of people look at this and they're like, well, why would she want to do that when he's just trying to get over this virus that everybody else has had and has either gotten over or tragically passed from? Why is she suddenly deciding, hey, let's implement the 25th Amendment and get him out of power right while election day is around the corner? Why would she do that? That was one suspicion people brought up about it, Pelosi, and mostly the 25th Amendment being brought to the table. Now, fast forward up to now, and here you have Nancy Pelosi introducing or bringing back the 25th Amendment to the table as a means to remove Donald Trump from office before, his term is over in 10 days. And again, this raises a lot of questions. Why is she determined, for him to be removed from power so quickly before his term is officially over and before the smooth, orderly transition of power to the Biden administration can take place? I mean, if anything, Pelosi should be happy that, Trump, according to several media outlets, has decided not to attend, Biden's inauguration a week from this Wednesday. But, again, this 25th Amendment, raises a lot of suspicions and is one of the reasons people are worried about what's to come, during the Biden-Harris administration. Another thing that, people worry and are afraid of is the fact that you have Kamala Harris herself. Now, let me be the first to say this. I think having a female president and female vice president will probably be one of the best things this country will ever have, and probably be the thing that this country needs to get back on its feet. Which, you know, obviously I'm sure a lot of people will agree with me with. But when it comes to Kamala Harris, ever since Biden elected her or chose her to be his running mate, the very same person that tried to run for president when the presidential campaigns began, or the presidential runs and elections, stuff like that began, you know, ever since Biden chose her, someone that ran, like I said, in this very same race at the beginning, it raised a lot of questions like, why didn't he choose somebody else? Why didn't he choose this person or that person? Why her? And it brought up a lot of suspicions because of, some of the background, some of her history, her background that she brings to the table. And not just her personal family background and all that, but some of the, luggage, some of the unnecessary luggage that she brings along with her. It really raised a lot of questions. And now, once again, as I mentioned earlier, you fast forward to now, and you have, Pelosi wanting to keep the 25th Amendment around even after Trump is gone. But why? Why does she want to keep it around? She's getting what she wants. She and other Democrats are getting what they want, even some Republicans. But yet, she wants to still keep the 25th Amendment around. Why? And why all of a sudden is it being brought to the table when they could have implemented this years ago if they didn't trust Trump at all? Again, all this brings up, in the eyes of those that are happy Biden won and are not happy that Biden and Harris won, it brings up a lot of suspicions, because when you add Harris into the equation, into the perspective and equation of those that worry about this administration, it makes them wonder, 25th. It makes them wonder why the timing is so coincidental. Of here's the 25th Amendment being brought into play not once but twice, if recently the second time, and here you have Harris as the new VP, the first female VP in history to run the country alongside the president. It really feels very coincidental and suspicious in the eyes of a lot of folks that something just doesn't add up. And on top of that, Joe Biden is looked at as the oldest president we've ever had in quite some time, in recent memory. And with reports and rumors going around that he has trouble fumbling his words or stumbling upon them, that rumor has it that he has the first beginning stages of possible dementia or Alzheimer's, it really brings a lot of suspicion to the table in the eyes of those that are questioned of what they're afraid of. Why are they so worried? And again, the people that ask those questions to those people that feel that way, they will tell them that, hey, look at the past, look at our history. We've had democratically run senates, houses, presidents, and vice presidents in the past, and we've gotten all through it. We've turned out fine. What are you worried about now? And again, I think it has to deal with the fact that the 25th Amendment is still in play, even when Trump is gone. That's what they're worried about. And also, it's Kamala Harris, because when you actually put two and two together, the 25th Amendment states that if a president is deemed unfit to lead, it'll basically make for an easy out for the vice president, the Congress, and the House to remove that president from power and place the vice president in as acting president. And who's the vice president that's going to be taking over in 10 days? Kamala Harris. And it makes things seem a little weird and unusual in the eyes of a lot of folks, because they feel that all Nancy Pelosi needs is one opportunity to find a reasoning to remove Joe Biden from office, even if it's a tiny flub of not remembering exactly where he might be, or fumbling a speech that he had, written down, or somebody helped him come up with to, talk about in the State of the Union address or whatever. All she needs is that one opportunity in the eyes of a lot of folks to implement that 25th Amendment, and now she would have the very vice president she would need, or the very person as vice president that she would need to make it a reality and get what she wanted back, and finally get what she's been wanting since 2016, and that's a female as president. I mean, think about it this way. Nancy Pelosi has announced that she plans to have this be her fourth and final term as House Speaker. And again, this is something else that gets brought up by a lot of people, or at least looked at as a potential worry. The timing of the fact that she's saying this is a final, that of her coming out and saying this could be her fourth and final time, and she's making this announcement at the same time Kamala Harris is being, sworn in as getting ready to be sworn in as vice president, and at the same time the 25th Amendment's being implemented or being brought to the forefront, for the possible future. See, a lot of these things people find very suspicious. A lot of these things being in play, I should say, a lot of people find to be very suspicious. So again, when people ask the question, what are you worried about? What are you afraid of? These various reasons, in my opinion, are those reasons. It's the 25th Amendment, being brought out, when it is, and probably being remaining in place for the foreseeable future. Harris being the vice president, and stuff like that. And on top of that, Nancy Pelosi coming out and saying that this is her fourth and final, saying this could be, if not will be, her fourth and final time as House Speaker, because obviously what she wants before she decides to hang it up is to see a female president in office. And that right there is what causes suspicion, and is why a lot of people that are happy Joe won but are unsure about his choice of vice president, and those that he's associating with, as well as those that are not happy he won and rather have had Trump or somebody else win, that's what they're afraid of. That's what they're worried about, because a lot of things just seem too coincidental and suspicious in their opinion. Now, I look at it this way: the only silver lining is there's going to be Democratic people or members of the Democratic Party in the Senate that will side more with Republicans than with their fellow Democrats, because some of the fellow Democrats have other issues, have other goals and means in mind. And again, that again goes back to the new VP, because of her connection in the eyes of some to those very people that have their own agendas in mind, in the Democratic Party. So again, there's just a lot of stuff out there in play right now that people find too suspicious and too coincidental, and which is why when they're asked what they're so worried about, what they're afraid of, well, in my opinion, there's your answer right there. There's several answers to those questions, right there. But what do you guys think? What are your thoughts on this whole situation? Do you think people are just blowing the worriness and the afraidness out of proportion? I mean, due to the fact that we've gone through democratically controlled senates and houses and presidents and vice presidents in the past? Or do you think they have a reasoning to be afraid? Let me know down below. Comment if you like. Have a good day. And I'm out. But again, let me know what your thoughts are. And I'm out. Peace.